and welcome to Newsbreak at 7. I'm Veera Raghav and we're coming to you live from outside the Vidhan Sauda in Bengaluru on a cool monsoon day evening in this city. Well, the focus was the Vidhan Sauda as Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah presented the first budget of the newly elected Congress government, his 14th budget. The first budget he presented was way back in 1994. So Siddaramaiah had history to make as well in the Legislative Assembly today as he presented a budget which had an enormous emphasis and focus on welfare schemes, especially the 5 top welfare schemes that the Congress had announced during its election campaign. Chief Minister himself starting his budget speech by turning around and saying, don't call these freebies. These are schemes that we're implementing to ensure that there is equitable distribution of wealth and sharing of growth and development across the state to all sections. Well, key focus, 52,000 crores is the estimated allocation for the 5 top welfare schemes. 10,000 crores for that rice scheme, which will be deposited in as 170 rupees per below poverty line family, as the state hasn't been able to procure rice, and about 14,000 crore rupees will be the outlay for the free electricity of 200 units scheme as well. So the other schemes all coming into play. Predominantly the focus of the budget was on backward classes, increased allocation for scheduled caste, scheduled SC, ST allocations, as well as for the minorities as well as expected. And as for Bengaluru city is concerned, about 1,000 crores for betterment of roads, which I think citizens of Bengaluru would be looking at. A lot of political digs in the budget against the BJP government, the past BJP government, as well as the central government. Strong political reactions from the BJP as well. Where's the money going to come for all this in that state budget? Alcohol becomes more expensive. 20% increase in excise duties there, and motor vehicles will become more expensive in the city. Property registration and property buying will also become more expensive in the city. There's of course large borrowings as well, increased borrowings in this deficit budget. So that was the economic part of it. As far as the politics was concerned, several punctuated digs at the opposition, the BJP, from the Chief Minister, blaming the previous government for the financial situation of the state, as well as raising questions and challenges to the centre in that budget, in fact challenging and demanding increased allocation in terms of the state pool there. Let's listen into what Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and former Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai had to say after that budget presentation.
We are trying to set right the discipline, indiscipline. So, in addition to that, we are implementing 5 guarantees we have already promised to the people of Karnataka, and also 76 programs of the manifesto that we are given to this year before the election. 76 programs are also.
He never speaks of the present challenges, financial challenges, and what are the financial arrangements they have made to meet the guarantees. He has taken 8,000 crores more loan, and he has increased the taxes in excise, in motor vehicles, and in stamp and registration. This is a huge burden on the people. It's anti-people, and this is a retrograde budget, and it doesn't have any new orientation or a new direction, and this will bring the state into financial mess.
Well, economics often drowns in political tussles when it comes to budget presentations. That's the same case in Karnataka as well. BJP, of course, making strong accusations at the government, of course, making accusations at the BJP. To get a sense of the political tussle in the state, remember the BJP still doesn't have a leader of opposition in the state, and this budget went down as one in history where there was no leader of opposition in the House while it was being presented. So what does it mean for the BJP and the Congress? I caught up with Industries Minister M.B. Patil and former Deputy Chief Minister Ashwath Narayan from the BJP in this conversation earlier in the day, just after the budget was presented. Let's listen in. Joining me now is the state's Industries Minister M.B. Patil and former Deputy Chief Minister from the BJP, Ashwath Narayan, joining us. First, let me go to the opposition, sir. What are your reactions to the state's budget?
In the present budget, there's nothing new been offered except for the compromise guarantee. It's been a very bad budget, and it is not progressive. It is a retrograde budget going to destroy the very future of the state of Karnataka.
Sir, your reaction to that reaction?
See, I don't want to react to his reaction, but I'll tell you, this is a budget which has taken care of all the sectors, women, farmers, industries, each, you name every sector, If you take agriculture, we have Krishi Bhagya schemes, the 5 guarantees, and also the industries, if you take the industries, and many other programs like. So it is a very progressive budget, and it's in this budget we have exposed what the BJP has done. In every this one where they have made the budgeting discipline was there, they have made more payments than whatever their budget was there in irrigation, in PWD, and also the corruption of the BJP has also been highlighted in this budget.
What would you be the key takeaway as you go forward on it? Is it a focus on welfare schemes? Because the Chief Minister starts his budget with an argument saying that, look, don't call these freebies. Call these as some things that is taking development to the poor.
Definitely.
Would that be the focus?
See,
Then what happens to...
whenever money comes to the poor, see, it is also a part of an economic development. We will get money is in the people's hand, particularly the poorer people, the laborers, the women. See, that is one way of looking into the development of those classes. And once money comes with the people, it causes inclusive growth,
All right. So, Mr. Narayan, would you believe that the focus on welfare schemes is something that the Congress seems to have achieved with this budget? Or do you still believe that there are key issues that need to be addressed which have not been taken seriously in this budget?
See, they've done nothing to improve the education system without developing the talent, without developing a knowledge, without strengthening, empowering the people. What can you see the future? See, generation of economy, generation of revenue should happen. Is there any way the Congress government, the present government has mentioned how to generate the revenue? It is only how to, whatever has been generated, they are good at spending, that's all. They are just spenders, not generators. So there is no development of the knowledge, or development of the talent, or skilling, or the quality healthcare being provided, a quality infrastructure being provided, nothing. Just only mere statements. They've insulted Ambedkar. They always keep mentioning about Ambedkar. Ambedkar was least respected by Congress. He was least respected, and a place was not even given for his burial. They defeated him in election time and again.
So generators are not...
See, I'll tell you.
Not generators.
As regarding Ambedkar, let me remind my dear friend, it was a central minister from Karwar, Anant Kumar Hegde. He said, we have come to power to change the constitution. This is the respect what BJP has and what BJP's agenda is there. So let me not talk about it. One thing I'll tell you, apart from the 5 guarantees, this budget has taken the developmental thing also into mind. And CM Siddaramaiah has presented 14 times the budget. He knows the first time he's given a budget which is a deficit budget of 12,000 crores. So he knows how to, in the cabinet also today, before presenting, he said how he will overcome this deficit also into coming days and make it a revenue surplus budget. So we need not learn lessons from BJP. For last 4 years what they have done. They have not built a single house in rural this one. So my dear friend Ashwath Narayan was a minister for higher education. Actually, in his arena, in his subject, he is talking about the skill developments and all this. That's so we have Sharan Prakash Patil, who is also a competent minister there, who will performed in previous governments also. He will take care of the skill development and also education. We have a higher education minister who is very, very progressive. All the sectors have been advanced one, but BJP has nothing to say because they have not done anything in the last 4 years. The state has gone to a very bad state, with 40% commission and so many things over there. Now we are now trying to bring our Chief Minister as want to balance both the welfare programs as well as the overall development.
Keeping the politics aside, in terms of industry specific, what do you see the prognosis for?
See, now I'll tell you, today we have come up with so many things to help the MSMEs also, who are the employment generators. We are going to give some common facilities to the existing industries as well as the new industries to come. And we have now come up with the cargo, this one, an innovation specific industries where research and all this will take care there. We are looking into so many other things into industry. We want to develop the single window clearance, which has been not very effective. compared to many other states. We are getting models from various states and make it a real single window clearance and all this. So there are so many other things, where in industries, aerospace and all this that have been given priority. We have identified some core sectors. We are developing, we are having vision groups over there. A lot of people have now coming to offer their lands also to come up to various industrial parks in and around Bangalore. So we are taking all this into it. There are many people who are coming to Karnataka, which has got a nice ecosystem and the brand Bangalore.
So politically, Mr. Ashwath Narayan, if there is one message to Mr. M.B. Patil on this budget, the one big sticking point for you on this budget, what is the point that you would make to him?
See, in this budget, except for the compromise guarantee being delivered, except the compromise guarantee, not the full guarantee, nothing else you can see in this budget. A young person like M.B. Patil, who are more progressive, would have become a chief minister. If you would have been the chief minister, we could have expected something better. Somebody is outdated people. Outdated people continuing to be in the present time itself is a great setback.
That's a very smart political thing. What is your response to it?
See, what they did to Advani, he's been telling now. How they disrespected Advani, how they disrespect Murali Manohar Joshi. These people don't have this one for elders. One day we are, Ashwath Narayan also will be an elder, I'll also be an elder.
What?
See, political expiry date, no? Does he agree or not? See, the aging process is everything.
See what?
Do you think 75 is relevant? After 75, is it relevant?
See, one time they removed Yediyurappa with the same age, 75 years, this one.
All right.
And they projected in Kerala the railway man, the Sridharan, who was 82 years. See, these people don't have where they want. They wanted to remove Yediyurappa at a different standard.
Even the Karnataka budget gets drowned in the Congress BJP political dispute. But my final question:
people will accept this budget. People will have this one. BJP has been defeated. They are been humiliated. So they have nothing to tell. They will tell all these things.
Now, one final question to you: is it a political budget?
No, it's not a political budget. We have always maintained whatever we have promised, we have delivered. Whether it's 2013, when we had given a poll promises around 165, we delivered 158 promises. Similarly, my dear friend Ashwath Narayan's party, they had 610 promises in 2018. Out of 610, they could not deliver 60. Not even 10%. This is their credibility.
Lots of attacks on the BJP in the budget. Final word.
Final word. It is only a political.
Who's going to be leader of opposition to take back those attacks, to charge back at the Congress?
See, each and every member of Bharatiya Janata Party is capable of taking this government, ripping apart the government, exposing this government, how bad it is. We are very capable.
But who's going to be the leader, sir? That's a big question.
We will be getting the leader shortly.
So I'll answer this question. See, for a chief minister, Mr. Yatnal said 2,500 crores for this one to become a chief minister. Similarly, to become a leader of opposition, I don't know how many 100 crores of their
Congress allegations against the BJP continues. Thank you, M.B. Patil, Industries Minister, Ashwath Narayan, former Deputy Chief Minister, for this interesting riffraff on the budget in Karnataka. Focus returns to Karnataka budget 2023. As we mentioned, there was a budget which the Chief Minister termed and Congress has termed as a welfare budget, where the star focus was on the 5 welfare guarantees and, of course, other schemes that the Congress has decided to fund and bolster in the state. Of course, 52,000 crores, the total outlay for these 5 schemes. Focus on backward classes, SC, ST and minorities as well in that budget, along with focus on the Kalyan Karnataka region. Along with, though, as we mentioned, focus on Bengaluru as well. Of course, where's the money going to come in from? It's going to come in from increase in excise duty on alcohol, excise levied on alcohol. It's going to be increase in motor vehicle tax registrations, as well as possible revision of guideline values for property. So what does this overall mean in terms of a deficit budget and increased borrowings as well? Joining us now is Narendra Pani of NIAS. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us. And also N.R. Bhanumurthy, Vice Chancellor of the B.R. Ambedkar School of Economics at the Bengaluru University. First to you, Mr. Pani, what do you make of the budget that's been presented today? What would be your rating of the state budget by Chief Minister Siddaramaiah?
I wouldn't go for ratings, but I think it's important when the 5 guarantees were announced, there was a widespread belief that this was an electoral necessity in which case the issue before this budget was how would those resources be generated. But I think the Chief Minister has gone much further than that, and he's announced many more schemes and many more welfare measures. And I think he has also spoken about those guarantees in terms of a universal basic income. So it's really part of a larger strategy of kind of welfare-led growth that Karnataka is experimenting with, or possibly the Congress might also be moving in that direction. The question really is that how does this work and is it sustainable? What the interesting part of such a strategy is that it's based on the idea that there is considerable inequality now, and based on that inequality, there's nothing wrong in taking money from the rich and passing it on to the poor. And the reason the Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has given for that argument is that 60% of GST comes from the poor in any case, or bulk of the GST comes from 60% of the poor. So the essential argument here is it's coming from them in any case, and it's your duty, therefore, to transfer it back to them. And even in this case, I think nearly half of that 45% or so of that 52,000 crores comes from the buoyancy in GST. So, and then of course, for this to happen, you have to continue the growth process. And in that, the strategy in the budget is that you continue with existing inequalities. The focus is on Bengaluru, and Bengaluru, when the regional inequality is very stark and is a challenge in Karnataka. There's no effort to really reduce that. The main infrastructure schemes you're talking about, whether it's a technology innovation park or any of the other initiatives, are essentially all in Bengaluru. So at one level, he's not challenging the inequality. All that he's saying is that if inequality exists, I can take those resources and put it back as welfare.
Right, interesting that you make that point. I know the point on Bengaluru and knowledge parks as well, which one of the ministers was pointing out is an attempt to create a knowledge-based society and not just setting up like a special economic zone. But we'll get to that in a bit. But first to the point that you've raised on sustainability. Mr. Bhanumurthy, is this path sustainable? Or is this path designed for an election year budget, given that you've come out of one election, you're heading into a 2024 election? How much is that necessity part of this budget, reflecting on this budget by the Chief Minister?
Well, I think it was very clear from the beginning that the new government is going to focus more on these 5 guarantees. And all of us were worried how the finance minister is going to balance the requirement between the receipts and expenditures. So I must say it's a very fine balancing act, and ultimately the governments are supposed to take care of the welfare needs of the people, but at the same time balancing the growth aspirations. To that extent, I must say that this budget is actually balanced both the capital expenditure as well as the pressures that is going to be coming for in terms of implementing these 5 guarantees. So politics is part of the budget, so you cannot separate the politics and the budget. Sometimes it's a political statement, and I think the finance minister, the chief minister, has made a fine balancing act between the politics and economics. And it has taken care of the receipt side. As you rightly pointed out, there was some space in terms of the own tax revenues, and I think the finance minister has taken all the 3 options were available for him. And even then, if you compare with the neighboring states, you are still taxing much less than the neighboring states. So I still feel that there is some more space for the government to generate little more own tax revenues on the 3 aspects.
Important point that you make there. I'm going to take the next question again to you. 2 points here. First, the Chief Minister in his budget speech starts by saying that don't look at these as freebies. These are measures made to distribute growth and development benefits equitably amongst the rest of the society. The other, and what the opposition has raised, is also there is no clarity on the revenues that are being generated. For instance, it is not clear how much the increase in the motor vehicle registration charges is going to generate for the state. Stamp duty, of course, there is some indication of those. The borrowings have also increased, which is another thing that the opposition has pointed out. Given that, is this going to be financially sustainable, sir?
First of all, I think we need to make the distinction between the freebies as well as welfare measures. I don't think there will be any opposition if the government suggests that is going for the welfare measure. I think what we disagree is that if it is a freebie. So you need to understand what is a freebie. In my view, the freebie is any government intervention that doesn't lead to production or productivity in the medium term to long term. So if you look at the 5 guarantees, my personal view, not my institutional view, is that out of the 5 guarantees, I think 4 definitely can be categorized as welfare schemes. But I think one, which is the Gruha Jyoti scheme, which is the free electricity, in a way it is a freebie. So in a way, that is the political pressure every government has to face. In terms of the sustainability, certainly Karnataka is better placed to implement those schemes. My only worry is that the kind of schemes that generally governments come up, it actually lacks the sunset clauses. Except one scheme out of the 4 or 5,
Right.
all the 4 schemes don't have sunset clauses. I think that is that makes little more worry about in terms of the sustainability. But much more worry for us is that if other states, those who are going for the elections, will try to imitate this, so that is going to be much more concern for a country like ours. But Karnataka is better placed. If you look at any kind of fiscal indicators, whether it is a debt to GDP ratio or fiscal deficit, even if you see today, despite the 5 guarantees, the finance minister is actually budgeting the deficit at lower than what was last year. So I think the government seems to be much more careful in terms of drawing the expenditures as well as revenues.
Right.
But in any case, the revenue that you talked about is more of a forecast. So we need to wait and see how it works.
Right. How it plays out. Professor Pani, last word to you. Are you concerned? I wish we could discuss the other issues that you picked up, like setting up of knowledge centers and regional inequality. Very important issues, but very limited time here on the show. Your last word, are you concerned about this becoming a trend across the board where not welfare schemes but freebies becomes the catchy, sensational things that will have to be funded by the exchequer?
No, ideally, if you have rapid growth, the need for such welfare schemes will not be as urgent. But if you are not going to have that growth, there is no getting away from the fact that the government, any idea of development cannot sustain itself if you have extreme poverty or some sections, even small sections of the population facing extreme malnutrition. So we have a problem here and we need to address that. I would ideally like it to be done through more sustained growth rather than just by a government commitment. But if that does not happen, there's no getting away from these commitments and the cost that they will bring. If you don't grow and you have these commitments, there are a number of financial and other crises that you will get. But if you can develop a growth strategy that has its focus on ensuring that nobody is really left behind, I think then you are dealing with I think that's the way forward for the country as a whole.
Okay, fine distinction that you make there as always. Thank you very much, Professor Pani and Mr. Bhanumurthy, for joining us and giving us your perspective. That's all we have time for on this show. Of course, our focus on the budget will continue our political focus in the coming days as well. Thanks for watching.